This is the story about some of the most well-traveled coho salmon fry in southeast Alaska. And that's saying a lot, because salmon are known for their wanderlust and the great lengths they will go to pass on their genetic lines. These little fish are also on a mission to save their own kind, even if they don't know it. You see, our coho fry came to Skagway as little-eyed eggs from a hatchery in Juneau to help us humans understand a little about their journey. We watched them spin around in their shells for weeks until one day they grew big enough to break out and stretch their fins for the first time as alevin. Light hurts young salmon, so we set up a long exposure camera to keep things dark while still being able to see. Alevin like to hide, so we added river rocks from Pullen Creek to make them little forts. And soon we had our first little swim-up fry. Then we watched as one by one they all wiggled to the surface of the water to fill up their swim bladders, and they all began to move around like real fish. We saw their egg sacs get smaller and smaller, and as they improved their swimming skills, we were able to let more light into the tank to make it easier to see how much they were changing. Scales formed, markings to help them hide in the stream began to develop, and soon it was time to teach them how to forage for their own food. We fed them a protein-rich feed given to us by the hatchery, and at first they didn't seem to know what to do with it. But over time, our coho fry tapped into their innate ability to hunt, and they all became experts at finding food. We gave them all names appropriate for fish. We introduced them to new friends. But soon, it was time to take them back to where they were spawned, to the cold waters of Salmon Creek in Juneau. This would not be an easy task, because the journey is long, and salmon need cold, clean water and lots of oxygen. So, we devised a way to keep the buckets used for transport cold and full of bubbles, but we had to work quickly. Two large coolers each held 2 5-gallon buckets full of fish and cycled aquarium water, and ice generously provided by Glacial Coffee House helped to keep the temperature within 2 degrees Celsius of the water in Salmon Creek. A portable battery powered a pair of air pumps that kept all 4 buckets full of oxygen and helped to circulate the water. We were ready for the long 6-hour ferry ride to Juneau. succeeded in keeping conditions perfect for our salmon's ferry ride. But now that we had arrived at Salmon Creek, it seemed that the water was flowing awfully fast. So we had to find a nice pool for the fry to rest in before venturing out and exploring their new home. This one would probably work. After mixing in some river water and letting the fish acclimate, it was time for our fry to experience a real creek for the very first time. These Coho salmon fry had only ever known the slow-moving water of their tank in Skagway. They'd never seen sand, or felt the rush of water as it cascaded over moss-covered river rocks. Never hid from a dipper bird, or eaten a stream bug floating down on the water's surface. They would have to imprint all of the smells in this water that had percolated through immeasurable amounts of soil and forest floor. They would have to find pools for refuge, bugs for forage, logs to hide under for protection, and all the while avoiding being swept out to sea before they were ready. We did the best we could to prepare them for life in the big, big world, and we know that not all of them will survive to adulthood. If only 2 of these salmon come back to spawn, our job as salmon tenders can be deemed a success. We sure learned a lot about salmon. They're one of the most amazing, versatile, tenacious creatures on the planet. And we wish our fry the best of luck as they continue on their journey.